The Charms of Miss O'Hara was a love letter book. My first two books were about my life in the classroom. So they were nonfiction, very easy to write because these were the stories I had in me. The Charms of Miss O'Hara was a biography of Anne Rutherford, who was the youngest sister in the film Gone with the Wind. She was Mickey Rooney's girlfriend in all the Andy Hardy pictures. She did Pride and Prejudice. She was a B star at MGM, but an MGM starlet. And the way that happened, it's a lovely story, and it's actually connected to my first book. I was in Beverly Hills celebrating the release of my first book. It had just come out. So I took my editor down to Beverly Hills, and we were at this swank club celebrating. And I'm sitting there in this club, and my editor's here, and behind her, her back to me, was this clearly elderly woman, beautifully dressed. And I saw a gentleman talking to her, and he was clearly enamored with this woman. And I heard one word, and then I put it all together. He said the word Atlanta. So I put elderly woman, gushing man, Atlanta together, and I knew what picture she had been in, because Gone with the Wind premiered in Atlanta in 1939. So I ran to the hostess desk and I asked, who is that woman? And she said it was Anne Rutherford. Well, I knew who Anne Rutherford was because I grew up on those old MGM movies. So I walked over to her table and introduced myself and purposely did not mention Gone with the Wind. I wanted her to know I really knew her films. And she was so tickled that somebody my age knew about her, she was in her late 80s then, that she did something wonderful. She asked her date, she was with the date, to switch places with my date. She had me sit in that chair. That's the kind of woman she was. And from then on, we just hit it off. We became instant friends. And long story short, I ended up writing her biography. And I started this when she was still alive, and then I finished it after she'd passed away. Now, as far as different challenges as a writer, for that book, I had to do a lot of research, and I had not done research before. And I learned a lot about research. I had to do lots of interviews with people. I had to do lots of library research at the Herrick Library in Los Angeles, and putting pieces together, and it was wonderful. It was like detective work. You know, you find out this little nugget and it fits with this, or you want to know something about this, and then through deduction you find out about this. It's just wonderful. It's really like detective work. But one thing I learned, if you're doing research and you do an interview, that interview will lead to something else. Every single interview I had led to another interview, because this person says, oh, have you talked to so-and-so? And you haven't even heard of so-and-so. So not only are you learning about the person you're writing about, but you're also, learning, so that you can, or you're getting contacts for your next interviews. That was something I didn't expect. So, and that book was a love letter. I self-published that book. My first two were traditionally published, but I self-published that one because, for a very specific reason, the 75th anniversary of the Gone with the Wind film was coming out, and I wanted it to get out before that. And I also just wanted to get it out as soon as possible. I didn't want to wait the traditional year.